Hello, everybody. It's Paul Neeson with Torah Life Ministries. We have a wonderful guest on. I'm really excited about this. Her name is Sarah. Sarah, say hello to the Torah Life audience.
Hi.
Sarah, thank you for so much for coming on here tonight. And
Thank
Sarah,
you.
can you just introduce yourself to the Torah Life crowd?
Absolutely. I'm Sarah Valente. I'm a homeschooling mom of 5 kids, 2 sets of twins, and a singleton, and a believer in Yeshua. Came into Torah about 8 months ago, and just really, really excited to be doing this interview today.
Wonderful. Now, Sarah, you grew up a Christian, I assume?
Yes, evangelical Christian my whole life.
Okay.
Yes.
And when did you first hear that about Torah?
It's such a process. I went to a Bible study for years and years with a woman who kept Sabbath, and I guess she kept the feast, and there were other things that she saw in Torah that applied to her life, but she just kept hammering Sabbath, Sabbath, Sabbath. And so about 2 years ago, I tried to keep Sabbath, but that was it. And I didn't really understand why I was keeping it. I just thought, well, yeah, resting is a good idea. God's smarter than me. He says rest. I should rest. And it didn't work out because I didn't get it. I just really didn't get it. And then I moved into this new place with my children about a year ago, and the Lord just reminded me, hey, Sabbath, you want rest? You're tired? Sabbath. And Sabbath was the door for me. And once I started keeping Sabbath, I started feeling like I was missing out. I remember Sukkot was coming up, and I frantically, with tears streaming down my face, grabbed a sheet and went and I stapled it up around my kids' room so they would have a tent. And I didn't know why. I had no idea why. And it was just slow, just slowly steps. And I took pictures of it and put it on my blog, and um, baby steps,
Now
really.
was
Cause,
now was that the first time you've heard of anything like this, or did you hear of the Sabbath before as you've been growing up as a Christian?
well, yeah, I mean, I heard of the Sabbath, and I knew it was Saturday. I knew it wasn't Sunday, but yet we still went to church on Sunday our whole lives, and Saturday wasn't special. It was just that was the Jewish thing. We knew
Sure.
that we knew what the real Sabbath was. That the real Sabbath was Saturday, but we didn't keep it.
So the Sabbath was your doorway to the Torah, and then you started to learn about the other feast and so on?
It was the feast, yeah. And I remember after I took that picture of me stapling up the sheet on my blog, and I had a reader email me, and really, really nicely. This isn't what she said at all, but this is what I read in her email. She said, "Are you just playing games?" And she said, because I know you have recipes with bacon, and I know that I've never heard you talk about the feast before. And what is this? Are you playing games? First it's a post about Sabbath, and now you're stapling the sheet up for Sukkot. What's going on? And I remember my heart just broke, and I sat there and I started crying in my chair, and I said, God, I don't want to play games. I don't know what I'm doing, but I know I don't want to play games. And yeah, it was shortly after that, maybe even that same week, that I found out about the book that I've talked to you about.
Well, yes,
And
that we're going
yeah,
to talk about that book. And
yeah.
so tell me, what was the reaction from your family and your friends when you started to decide you were going to do your best to observe the instructions of the Torah?
Well, it depends on which family or friends. My parents, God just was working on them at the exact same time, and I would bring stuff up, and they would kind of say, "Yeah, we're thinking the same thing." It was really miraculous, amazing, and they're my next door neighbors, so really, really special to have that happen at the same time. Um, my dad had stumbled on to a bunch of different teachers: Jim Staley, Eddie Chumney, Michael Rood, and I had just I don't even know what mine was. It was just people, little comments here and there, and little things from the Lord, that just made me think there's something that I'm missing out on. There's something bigger than this walk I've been walking for 30 years.
Sure, sure. And what about your friends? How was their reaction?
Some friends are just not my friends anymore. Um, but interestingly enough, I had a group of about 15 friends that we had a Facebook group from a book that I had written a year ago. Um, it was kind of my focus group I put together, just really close girlfriends that I really respected. And I start bringing this stuff up there, quiet, secret, safe place. And over half of them now are studying Torah. And it's just amazing. I mean, the other half are kind of curiously still watching. Some of them have left. But to have that many people just jump on board and be like, yes, we knew something was missing too. And it's been really exciting just to see the switch flipped in people's hearts and minds, that just grab onto this deeper, richer, more beautiful thing than we ever walked before.
That is wonderful. That is great. Now, tell us. Now, you mentioned there was a book that you read that really. Well, there's two things you mentioned. First, you mentioned you have two sets of twins, which is quite
Yep.
unique. And so,
Totally blessed.
how many kids do you have? Five total.
I have five total, yes.
So tell us. First, you had twins, and you had another kid, then twins, or how? What was the order?
No, twins, and then a single.
Wow, wow, that is just amazing. So,
Yeah.
so you had all these twins, and do you homeschool?
I homeschool, yes. I
Okay.
was homeschooled for a lot of my life, and then I homeschool them as well.
So you homeschool, and tell us about your family and your twins. Like when me and my family we had babies, we had natural childbirth at home with a midwife. And
Mhm.
what about yourself? Did you have your babies naturally, or did you go to the common way with the hospital and so on?
I went the common way. I actually am trained as a midwife, and so I wanted to use a midwife, and so we had a midwife until we found out it was twins with the first set. Um, and then in New Mexico, it's illegal to use a midwife with twins, so we ended up going with a doctor, which worked out. It worked out great. It was a great experience. But my fifth baby was born in a birthing center with midwives, and that's definitely my favorite of all the experiences for sure.
That is wonderful. In a way, one of the reasons ways I connected with you is you said you have a friend that wrote a book from a Hebraic standpoint, who is a midwife, about this very topic, about Torah and midwifery.
Yes, it's the midwife that I trained under, actually. I lived with them when I was 19 and trained with her to be a midwife. And then all these years later, I mean, we've considered ourselves family ever since then, but all these years later, right after that experience where I just knew I had to do something to honor Sukkot, I get an email from one of her daughters. And it said, look, I know you've written, I know you've edited, I know you understand midwifery. You have to edit my mom's book. And it was just, she didn't leave me any out. And I said, okay, you're family, I'll do it. And I could not have possibly been prepared for what was going to happen in my life through that book.
Wow. And was that book written more recently, or was it written before you had your children? When was that book written?
It was just now. I mean, all of this has just happened in my life. She wrote it probably 2 years ago, but I only just now read it in October or November.
Okay, so tell us the name of the book and what it's about.
The name of the book, I have it here, is Everything Old is New Again. And she, over the course of probably 4 or 5 years, Renee Stein is the author, the midwife and the author, and she just started seeing these little connections between things that would happen at stages of pregnancy and the feasts. And she knew there was something there, but for a long time she didn't see the whole picture. And I think it was a couple years ago that she really just realized, oh my gosh, this is what the Father's been trying to show me to get out to the world, that every single person who has ever been born, no matter what their creed, no matter what their, no matter who they have already celebrated the feasts before they were born because of how the Creator designed pregnancy. And it's only that way with human pregnancy.
Wow, that is amazing. That is amazing. And was this from her observation as a midwife, or did she go to school somewhere to learn this? How did she learn all this?
It was just her observation as a midwife. And of course, being Jewish, she converted to Judaism when she was 18 years old. She's a believer in Yeshua, but she converted to Judaism to marry her husband. And so she had been through the schooling and understood the feasts. And then as a midwife, I think she was just in a really unique position to see this comparison, being Jewish and being a midwife at the same time.
Wow, wow. And so how has this book blessed you? You said you've been blessed since reading this book.
I couldn't believe just how the Father just orchestrated all of this. I mean, the reader emailing me and asking me the hard questions, and then this book falling in my lap, and I was just searching for, why do I feel drawn to the feast? Why do I feel like there's something missing when no one else seems to feel that there's something missing? Obviously, everyone who has come into Hebrew roots has felt something missing. Um, but the Christians I was around just were not. They were happy, and I wasn't happy. And I'm sitting in church thinking, something's not right here. Something's missing. And so, yeah, just this book falls into my lap at the exact right time, which I know is not a coincidence. And I'm reading it, and I'm thinking, she's basically saying, shame on you, in a nice way for abandoning Sabbath and for not keeping the feasts. And she talks a little bit about Constantine, just really simply, talking about, how did we get here? How did we get to the way we're doing things today? And it just all started hitting me. This is who I am. This is my religion. Paul's religion, Peter's religion, James and John's religion. This is my religion. And I'm not doing it like they were. And just realizing the feasts are not for the Jews. The feasts are for everyone who is Israel, everyone who is grafted in, and everyone who is his. And that he would arrange it that way, that I would have already experienced them before I was born. It made me realize, yeah, I'm special. He wants me to experience these things.
And now, who'd she write the book for? Did she write it for Messianic believers? Did she write it for Christians? Or did she just write it for pregnant women? Who was the book, the main audience of her mind when she wrote it?
I don't know if she had a main. That was one of the things that I did as an editor. Is the first time through, I said, I know you want to write to all these different groups, but I think we need to just write this to evangelicals. We need to write this to those that cannot see this at all right now. So yeah, I mean, it would be a huge blessing to midwives and to pregnant women, but I think any and every evangelical Christian, anyone who's new to Torah, or just wants a different spin on how to present Torah to their friends, should read it.
Wonderful, wonderful. And for those of you watching right now, we are on Skype, and we forgive us for the video quality, but the information, the quality of the information is so amazing. We got to get this interview out to everyone. So tell us. There's two questions I have for you. You said you spoke about this book, and you also spoke about you having a blog. So first, tell us where people can get this book if they're interested.
Absolutely. It's Everything Old is New Again by Renee Stein, and you can get it on Amazon. So just type that in on Amazon and you'll find it. You can also find it if you go to my page, which is Kingdom Twindom.
So now now you're telling us about your blog. So your blog
Yeah,
is Kingdom Twindom, and you're gonna have to spell that for people because obviously.
Kingdom, yeah, Kingdom, and then Twindom, TWIN, twin, DOM, kingdomtwindom.net.
Wonderful. So they can get the book on your website as well?
Yes, yes.
Wonderful.
At Amazon's a great way to go to.
Okay, and tell us more about your blog. What do you do on your blog? What do you blog about?
Well, I just blog about my life, so it's been really interesting since my life has changed so much to have to change what I'm writing. And I have to go back and delete a bunch of holiday posts and recipe posts, and it's an adventure. And my blog's always been an adventure. My life's always been a little up and down, a little bit of a roller coaster ride, and mostly in a good way. The Father's really just worked on my heart to teach me to hear Him for years, to bring me to this point today, to bring me to Torah. I know it was all just bringing me the Spirit and the truth together in my life. So yeah, it's interesting, and I know a lot of my readers that have been with me for a long time are a little confused at this point. We just blogged about Passover and unleavened bread and first fruits, and I'm sure they're a little bit confused, but I have to share my life. That's what I've always done, is share my life. I don't get real preachy. I just like to share. And I hope it'll bless people to just watch us walk this change.
Sure. And answer this question for me. You've been a Christian most of your whole life growing up. Why you, your parents, and your friends, and all these other people that read the Bible, why do you think it took you so long and it takes people so long to actually see the truth of it.
You know, my dad and I talk about that probably every night. But I think that in my whole life, I've had this mourning in me. Why am I a Gentile? I don't want to be a Gentile. And I think that was it. I thought I didn't know who I was. So I could read the whole Bible and not get any of it because I didn't see that it all applied to me. It was all about me. Um, and it's been such a huge blessing to watch my eyes open and to just feel like included in this story now that I was left out of and I don't understand at all. I've read through the scriptures so many times, and just didn't see it. And I really think it's the grace of the Father now to open my eyes, but I don't understand. I don't understand why I didn't see it before.
Sure, sure. Well, you have an amazing story, and I'm so glad where you are now because you're a great testimonial to people. I want to encourage everyone listening to get to your blog. And is there anything else you'd like to say before we end here?
I don't think so. Just buy the book and download the book. It's really, and then, you know, just to make sure everyone knows this is not my book. I don't make any money off of this book, but I believe in this book because it'll show you how special you are to the Creator, and that's, you know, that's why it was written. I really
Well,
think
I'm excited to read it because I'm not a woman. I'm not pregnant, but I'm excited to read it just because I know the topic and what an amazing topic it is. So I'm looking forward to it.
good.
Yeah, and so thank you so much. And people, if they need to contact you, can they contact you through your blog?
Yes, they can. Yeah.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much for being a guest on the show.
Thank you.
All right, great.
Come out of the world, oh my people, seek the truth, avoid the evil, learn Yahweh's ways, Torah Life Ministries, come out of the world.